A bit of a disclaimer before I start this now. Why did I put 3 months in my last video? Well, because I don't think I have that much faith in myself in actually releasing the videos in time. These videos tend to take a long while to do, not just because the games take a long while to finish, but because I tend to be lazy when I make videos, and tend to procrastinate, go for walks, get busy with a different game I'm more interested in, all that. Besides, I started this special just I was about done with my TXR2 video. Its next video was gonna be on a shitty licensed game. Thank God I went with a more infuriating game than that. Yeah, I tend to change my ideas a lot, especially when I'm close to going to the next video. Remember those little twos, the references to the old BBC Two items from the 90s? Not if you're outside the UK, but back in 2021, I wanted to make a theme about sequels, but I ended up doing FPS games from early 2000s instead. I can be really fickle, but hopefully it's just for the games review back to back. Just be busy with the games and I'll be golden. Right, let's get to the game I dread the most coming back. Man, what a weird comic book. EA took a big gamble when they released Black Box's Need for Speed Underground in 2003, and it really paid off, having sold over 7 million copies across all platforms by the middle of the next year. Not only was it a commercial success, but also a critical one. At least back in the day, I was rather polarized by the game. While I'm fine with the customization options and love the drift mode, its career mode, bullshit AI, and the drag mode prevent me from liking it. Maybe if I wore rose-tinted glasses, I could have loved racing fast on a straight line or something. Not today though. But hey, 7 million copies was enough to justify a follow-up back then. Nowadays, EA would consider it a failure or something. So here's Underground 2. Released in November 2004, it was touted as being bigger and hopefully better than the last. But I'm not holding my breath for much longer. Sophie reviewed it years ago, saying she liked it, but career mode was just way too long, as well as the rubber banding being a bitch. So with that, I was afraid of ever revisiting this game until now. I mean, I thought it was better than Undercover, but Carbon is only just better. But it's been ages since that old video, so lean back as I do ride on this storm of crashing foreign cars, while determined and giving it all, as I take a look at this Death or Resurrection show and see if it still deserves a celebration song, or if in actuality has no W in it. Black Betty, sup? Started up, EA Games, Cia checks, the audience is deaf again, and a slideshow, Brock Berg telling me not to drive like Richard Hammond on the streets. It may not be a live action cutscene I'm more familiar with, but it's close.
When it comes to racing, make sure you only do it on the streets of Underground 2. So remember to always use your seatbelts and obey the laws of the road.
Oh good, she told me to wear a seatbelt, what a relief. Here's the intro, which is a mix of gameplay footage, nice, and bits from that game trailer, better to not look like their little bug cars driving on a woman's body. Yeah, that's sexy, right? Oh, disgusting! Considering how the last game and the next had elaborate CG intros, I'm starting to think the budget wasn't as well managed.
Hey yo, Jim, man, won't you kick some of that?
I thought the song was good back then? Would have preferred the original, but this one got stuck with me and I quite love it. Much relaxing and way better than all skeet, all skeet. Where am I going with this? 7 years of getting better taste, buddy. Let me be frank, nowadays I really hate this remix, and I hate that it's always the first thing you hear after the intro. Yeah, it fits the game well, but this is like dancing over a famous person's grave. It's just so wrong and kinda disrespectful. But hey, if the state of Jim Morrison and whoever's left the doors allows Snoopy to do this, then that cancels the disrespect out. Still, I'd rather prefer the original. Fuck, I'd rather listen to Little John yet again. Now you're missed the skeet.
Masturbation!
Let's start career right away before I piss off very offensive even more. Ah shit, I guess they ran out of budget when they arrived at the Cinemax phase, so they went with a comic book slideshow instead of CG FMVs. I'll talk about them later, so we start where we left off, after the prototype defeated Eddie and Melissa, who's now the big shot in Olympic City. So much so that before they get to the party with Samantha, they get a video call from this bald and menacing guy who wants to join his crew.
We like what we see. There's room in my posse for you, and I ain't taking no for an answer.
They took no for an answer. big mistake. I'll be honest, if I were them, I'd also reject his offer because who the fuck is this Kane looking guy? And why should I trust him anyway? Let me be at the party in peace. With my Nissan intact too. But yeah, offended, the bald guy crashes the Skyline with a 350Z steering wheel for some reason, but didn't kill the driver at least. I also just noticed it turned into a Celica for some reason. Could be worse, could have been the cops arresting them and get their car impounded. Or crushed. It's a Skyline 2000's America, it was to be expected. It's 6 months later, and Samantha tells the protag to go to the city of Bayview to meet her best friend Rachel, and to start all over again. Ooh, you get the driver fair lady to the car lot. Not before Rachel teaches you the basics of the open world and singular short messaging service. Oh wow, it's just gonna be stuck here as I cruise, huh? You will never expect just product placement like this. Anyways, drive to the lot. Or be an asshole and do a few races with her car. The more you do so, the more pissed off she gets, enough to call you a cunt.
You know what, Hotshot? The word is out. Racing's over. The longer you take to get over here, the worse off you're gonna be. I ain't calling you again.
Unfortunately, it doesn't matter how you went before reaching the car lot. Even if you get there as fast as you can, without a single scratch, you'll still meet an angry, "It's me!"
Finally, where have you been with my ride, huh?
My flight got delayed, bitch! I even warned you about it! And you thought Samantha was annoying. Right, after getting my insurance payout from that little incident, I get to pick my first car of the bunch. So what do we have here this time? The Peugeot 206? Sure hope the cops don't crush this one too. The Focus? Wish it was a Euro spec model. Nissan 240SX, the best car in carbon really. The Civic? Again, wish it was the hatchback. A Miata? Boring. There's also the Peugeot 106 and a Vauxhall Corsa for the European versions, replacing the Hondas from the US one. They're not bad, they're really cute to me. And oh, the A86! Everyone's actual favorite Japanese shitbox! What a great choice for my first car, isn't it? I'm driving the Logan. What the fuck is that? Romania's pride and glory, buddy. We head to our new home to meet Rachel again, who tells you that she's now your manager in the city, as well as helping the game up even more.
Whatever you like, you can find it, if you know where to look. Drag, drift, circuits, and way more. The scene runs so deep, we're racing in places you wouldn't believe.
Are we gonna race inside a volcano at some point? Man, I miss NFS too. Oh, and here's Tommy the mechanic, who not only fixes your car, but also gives you tips on tuning and hints on some races hidden from the map, which I'll talk later. But for now... Just 5 races to start off, nothing too tedious. For graphics, it's very similar to the last game, right down to the shitty motion blur, except it's much worse. But like I said there, it looks pretty for a 2004 game. It looks colorful, more so than the last, due to the setting's more glamorous places, and the more working class locales don't look depressing either. Okay, maybe this slums bit is depressing, and enhanced contrast makes it look like how I added my Gmod images, only a lot darker. But still, even with a lower poly count to the next game, the cars are still well marred with little to no faults whatsoever, even this ugly bastard. However, I've noticed a few pop-up issues here and there, like this section of the freeway. Rather distracting, but still, even then, there were moments where I should have played it at a lower resolution on a CRT TV, like the scenic view of the city in Jackson Heights. It's giving you away the illusion! Oh, you think you're safe from adverts? Think again! Now we have Bayview infested with Burger King, Campbell Soup, Singular, Edge Shaving Cream, ING Direct, Best Buy, and Old Spice. Hello, ladies. Fuck, I'm really old. I forgot to talk about the starting sequences in the last video, so this is the best opportunity for me to do so. I really like how dynamic they look, with not just the starters, but also the audience too. Very diegetic and immersive. Just don't look back or linger for too long. And the countdown times depend on the starter's animation, if minimal. It's like actual motorsports. I can't believe I'm saying such a thing in an Underground 2 video. However, have you noticed how all the stars in the games are women? Okay, not at all actually. Did you know that there was a starter guy in Underground 1? He only shows up when you race alone, but he's there. Yeah, don't expect someone like him to show up in OG2. The rest of the star animations all have attractive women singly to start. Whether it be this lady, this other lady, the twins, or in the case of UG2, Skimpy Gel Valentine cosplay, male gaze lesbian couple, gal with a beanie, and that same lesbian chick who's also the only one not showing her flat belly. You know, it's pretty obvious they're only here for eye candy and not much else. Yeah, it's realistic in a way, and it makes sense to have them here, but they make it pretty obvious that this was a product of its time, especially the lesbian couple. They were definitely not here for diversity brownie points for sure. Although, if this game was ever released today, I think the Chuds will be pissed by that, and Rachel being your manager in the game, but ooh, dykes! The least they could do is making them kiss though. And hey, aside from that, animals some of the magazine shots, at least the game treats women as more than just eye candy, with 2 plot important characters showing up in career mode. It has better female representation than Pro Street later offered. Show me your face, coward! And shit, there's a replay feature? Just like old times, I see. Well, kind of. While I appreciate it, the cameras are all over the place. All randomized moving cameras and game views, but no static anchor shots. Worse yet, if you try watching the replay with extended input, the game crashes. Same if you install custom cars too, so I had to use the vanilla installation to get a few shots. Shame, I wanted to show off my Dacia. The HUD ditches the cool blues and digital numbers for a rather generic yet still good looking style. Transparent dark gray and green accents for the EA tracks bit. I still love a game that shows you what songs start playing, makes me less clueless as I race. Unfortunately, the minimap doesn't have a 3D option, so it's stuck in a top-down view. Boring. The mini is alright, incorporated visuals from the races, but I already missed the infinite taunt from the last game. I like the big rotating display tray thingy that you can fidget with the right stick, but it makes the menu look more static really. I sure make comparisons to later games, but I wish they went with the Midnight Club free way of displaying them. Switching cars, whoop, that's going away. And then you have the biggest letdown. Okay, not really in comparison to everything else about the game, but the cutscenes are a disappointment to me. Instead of going for CGI or, god forbid, live action, they instead have these comic book style ones with characters drawn realistically. By that, I mean just photographing the models / actors on a green screen and trace them over to give them that look. While I appreciate the decision, I also think they come off as lazy, either that or budgetary constraints. I don't know, they look like they should be in a portable spin-off and not a mainline game, and even then, they don't look as good as Own the City. I already missed the CG. By the way, the game is supposed to show you tips during loading screens, but for some reason, the PC version just doesn't show them. Only the title screen where Rachel is staring at you, judging you for racing her fairly before you meet her at a car lot. You're on thin fucking ice, dude. For sound, the menu ones are directly lifted from the last game, which is fine. But I also like the new stuff, like the GPS error annoying you with that sound. Shut up, I'm going there! But the biggest improvement has to be the engine sounds. Oh, how fucking glorious. Oh yeah, proper growling, now that's more like it. However, I really don't like the rotary ones, they sound too much like the Miatas in the old Gran Turismo games. I cannot escape it! At least the voice acting is alright, even if it's mostly white people spewing slang at me.
Hey, yo, man. Street drag is the influence behind everything we got. If the other guy gets past you, just chill and slide into his slipstream and sit in his draft. Gain precious speed, and then make your move to bounce right on by. This is gonna be big, dog. You ready? Good. Go out there and prove yourself. Your competition's gonna be coming at you strong, so you're gonna want to adjust your acceleration and top speed. Modify your tranny's final drive ratio.
Modify my what? Instead of having the likeness of a model but voiced by someone else, Rachel Taylor now has the likeness of TV personality and model Brooke Burke, fresh off her hosting stint in the show Wild On, who also voices her. Who? From what? Yeah, I'm pretty sure they spent half its budget on paying her. Joking aside, she did a decent job playing her, but not much underacting really.
Whoa, stand back. That is one wild mod. Someone's definitely looking out for you, because that's the only one of its kind on the West Coast. The Wraiths have been putting it down out there, doing anything it takes to win. Check it out. With the history the two of you have, you can forget about racing anywhere in Bayview ever again. But if you keep winning and scoring all them sponsors, he won't have anyone to turn to. They'll kick him to the curb. Just remember, you have to keep winning.
On the opposite spectrum, there's the villain Caleb, who looks like if Jason Camisa shaved his head bald and tried to look like Kane from Command & Conquer. The actor playing him really hammed it up, and I really love it.
I'll do what I can, but it's up to you now.
What good are any of you? Not one of you could take that guy out? Not one? What do you think is gonna happen if he keeps winning? You can say goodbye to all this, your precious sponsors, all the C notes falling into your hands, all of it!
Fine, we'll take care of it.
That should make him a more memorable villain, but you'll see why that's not the case. Music is great, sometimes. While a short playlist, it still has a nice playlist of rap, techno, rock, and metal. Look, there's Ministry's No W, a song criticizing the Bush administration, Need for Speed Underground, and political songs. Name a better duo. There's Helmet, it's no one song, but it's still banging. So is Skin Dreads Nobody, even if it's shortened a lot. There's Raise Against, The Bronx, The Killing Joke, Skeptic, Spider Bitch's cover of Black Betty, one of the few covers I actually enjoy listening. And hey, it's that song that goes awesome. The electronic stuff ain't no slouch either. Any fans of Juice 2 out there? And of course, the rap music is to be expected these days. I've already said my grievances about Snoop Doggy Dogg Lion, or whatever the fuck he calls himself now, that Trump cocksucker out of many. I think he's confusing me! I will say this though, at least they didn't alter Jim Morrison's vocals, unlike that remix of Break Ground Through. Still.
If you give this man a ride, sweet family will die. Killer on the road.
Aside from that, there's stuff from Shingy, Capone, Slime Boogie, Exhibit, because of course, and my favorite of them all, Lean Back by Terror Squad. The soundtrack really has some standouts, but it's also weird in that a few of them just don't fit in races, yet there still has race music anyway. A great example is In My Head by Queens of the Stone Age.
It's the cruelest joke to play.
Yeah, it may sound like it. I don't mind the song itself, it's actually pretty good, if unusual with the Queens, and it does fit well doing a free roam, and even the menus too. But for racing, it's so off. It's not hard pumping enough for me, and it sounds more like you're on a road trip with friends at a proper race. Seriously, couldn't they use anything from Songs of the Deaf? Go with the flow even? Maybe they took the album's name seriously and just ignored it. I'm sure it's here to promote their then upcoming album, Lullabies to Paralyze, but rather than that song, why not a better preview of it, like Burn the Witch? It's not hard-hitting as I'd hoped, but it's still a better choice I think. Or, I don't know, Eagles of Death Metal. Nah, too indie rock for this. Another one is Fluke's Switch/Twitch. Again, works well in free roam, but not so much during races. Same with Nothing But You and Rocket Ride. If I want to feel like the house guy in my races, at least put Silver Screen Shower Scene instead. I don't care about the Midnight Club 2 comparisons. At the very least, you can change where a song plays using EA tracks, but I also wish it had an option for the song to just play during free roam or races, and not both. If I'm being honest, I just don't like it as much as the last game. There's some good stuff, sure, but I heard better, and the censorship doesn't help either. As usual, the rap songs are heavily affected. That's My Name here, just 50% muted words here, and it sucks so bad.
All up, twisters on my feet. When I fall back, jump with the and creep. Got the hood since I hit the streets. All I really need to make the mix complete is a big fat cut before I get raw. On the late night, trying to duck the I won't come cheap, no, not too tall. Sling a weak so that I can ball.
Let them say the N-word! No W, while not as much, is also heavily censored. Oh, they allow politically charged song in the game, like last time, but oh no, no George Bush clips, and certainly no sexual innuendos here. There's a what? I am weightless as the word fuck cut out of the song, by just shortening it.
If you confess, I will depress. I will not with you.
The flow is ruined! And I still don't get why nobody's shortened. There isn't anything obscene about the song, well, aside from not getting out of the shark pit alive. But according to the ErikJDM, they allow it, unless you're talking about hell. Disc size limitations most likely? But yeah, even if the soundtrack was great overall, and even if it wasn't entirely censored, I'd still rather listen to something else. Still way better than the 2015 game. I forgot what that sounded like. Now the real game has started, as Stage 2 introduces the concept of sponsorships and the Underground Racing League. This is gonna suck. What doesn't suck, however, is the handling. It's an improvement over the previous game. It's very similar to Underground 1, arcadey yet natural, so skill is your best method. But now you rarely get sudden snap oversteering, even if your car is fully tuned to the 9s. Even better, you can now refill your nitrous during your race, and to do that, you have to do feats like you do in Underground 1. Drifting, you're missing, clean sections and laps, the works. I still wish it would refill on its own like in the next game, but to make up for it, you can overfill it for an even longer nitrous boost. Now the game is bearable, right? We'll see. The physics are still a mess though. Hitting traffic hard enough will still get you to slow motion end, and most of the time you just pirouette all over the place from one. And it takes a really long while for you to respawn. As long as your car is on the air, you can't reset yourself during it. My god, this is so tedious. You might as well just restart the whole race than to sit through that. Thankfully, traffic is way less of a nuisance than in Underground 1. There, it felt like I was fighting for my life trying to avoid it. But oh, it's still there. The white van keeps haunting my dreams, alright. The AI opponents are also a nightmare, at least on a hard difficulty, but even then, it's a crapshoot. I guess they saw how Underground 1's late game scarred players for life, so they basically made the opponent's brain dead on easy, and even normal. Talk about overdoing it, now the game isn't as fun. Let me just set to hard and oh god! Oh god! Oh god! The rubber band has come back for another go here. They really love to get clinging on you. And I really mean it, especially in some late game races. Man, I really hate this. And of course, like in Underground 1, the opponents are adjusted on how tuned your car is. Which means if your car is fully stocked, the opponents will do the same as well. However, weirdly enough, I have moments where due to not having the unlocked upgrades installed, I got my ass kicked. Like holy shit. Even then, they can still be a bitch even with a fully tuned car. The silver lining, however, is that the cars are light enough to annoy them back. I think you ought to know that I used to be a cop, fool! I never really pitted someone. I was more secret agent than a field cop. I still like to fight dirty though. I'm such a terrorist. Potentially Islamophobic joke goes here. Still, the difficulty isn't as bad as Underground 1. However, changing it this time won't deduct nor increase the prize money, as it stays the same no matter what. That's a shame, I guess. For race types, there's a ton. You got your standard racing ones like circuit, sprint, and lap knockout. Alright, the last one was never used in career mode, but it's still in the circuit type for quick race, if you desire pain. Plus the dreaded drag racing and the forgivable drift mode, which has been overhauled for the wars. Drag is the same bullshit as the last game, change gears at the right time for a smoother response, avoid the traffic, handle such obstacles. It is still fucking hard to do all the bullshit it likes to throw at you, like your car not fully staying in the lane, and total your car in the process. Or how the middle part of the road is verboten in this particular track. Can't I have some respite? Thankfully, there's an upside. Some of its tracks take place either on the airport runway or a train yard, with no traffic whatsoever. And they're just variations of the same strip, just with obstacles placed differently. I really quite like them. They take away some of the weight off my shoulder. Now I just have to focus on my opponents. Especially when they do that! Yeah, this game can be odd at times. Hey, how come this stretch of highway isn't available in the open world? Next is drifting, same idea as the last game, except now you have opponents drifting the same time as you. For some reason. You still have the multipliers in the bonus zones where you earn more by drifting close to the walls, but now you have to pay attention to the traffic doing the same thing as you do. If it were one-on-one, that'd be fine, but 4 at the same time? That's a bit too much, don't you think? Worse yet, if an opponent ahead crosses the line, you have 30 seconds to reach it. It's somehow still ample time to reach there, but fuck, don't give me this kind of urgency in my drifts, damn it! But thankfully, there's also a kind of drift mode where you do so alone, and it's a downhill contest at Jackson Heights. This place may be polarizing, which I'll talk about later, but I can't help but love it so much. Plus, there's no more traffic on the way, and you receive more points by drifting close. Hell, you could even drift on the parking lots for some outrageous scores. This shit is so busted, I love it. But if it still sounds too samey, don't worry, there's 3 new race types you'll encounter during career mode, and those are Street Cross, Underground Racing League, and Outrun. I'll talk about that last one during the open world segment, but the rest is like a tale of 2 game modes to me. Street Cross is like a normal race, except you're racing on really short and wide tracks with no nitros to use. While I love the concept and like the execution here, it's one of the game modes where you'll either have a breeze or end up frustrated and keep restarting it with no in between. The tracks are wide, but that doesn't stop your rivals from getting up on you. And don't forget about the rumble banding. Even if there's no nitro here, your opponents will still make getting first place impossible. Only a measly restart can solve this. And then there's the Underground Racing League. Oh boy, the URL. They're circuit races, but set in either a purpose-built racetrack or an airport runway. You race against 5 opponents instead of 3, and there's no traffic to worry about. Plenty of road to drive on. This is a weird race type, like hey, let's have street racers legally race their cars at a track without much incident. Yeah, High Stakes did have a few raceways, but at least they're shorter than the URL races in career mode. Oh, I'll get to that soon. Oh no, I thought I had to do 15 regular races, but I actually have to do 20! At least URL mod is keeping up with the trend, 2 more per stage. This is the first time a Need for Speed game gets a proper open world, and what a way to start. Welcome to the city of Bayview on the west coast. We start off from the airport, which is at least far enough from the city thankfully, and make our way to downtown, or city core as it likes to call. We have high-rise buildings, casinos, this fancy-ass roundabout, the slums, megalo parks, and the freeway ring going around the core. It's no shoot expressway, but it's still a pleasure to drive. Something you'll notice is that even compared to Olympic City, the city layout doesn't look like your typical American city. There's just so many curves in this grid, it's very European in a way. And hey, I quite like it. Flows better for racing under a bunch of squares and rectangles really. And at least this design philosophy gets reused in later entries, which I appreciate. Next up is Beacon Hill, a more subdued place with some fancy businesses here and there, a marina with a Burger King, this big park, and an unnecessarily long road to get in and out of the place. You would be a fool to take it as it passes 3 streets under it. I recommend taking the other bridge as it's more direct. But hey, at least this road goes directly to Jackson Heights, but we'll get to that shortly. Without cutting the park, it's a really small district compared to downtown, but it has some interesting shortcuts and sites to pass. I really don't like these airpins though, especially if you went through that road. Then there's Jackson Heights. The suburbs on a big hill, and probably the most polarizing place in the game. On paper it looks great, winding mountain roads, something that's the perfect spot for drifting, and maybe even some cat and mouse duels too. In execution however, it's just frustrating. For one, there's only one road that leads to it, with no alternate paths whatsoever. 2, it's a bore to get out if you're like way up there due to the winding nature of the roads. And 3, its circuit races are damn tedious. I can see why some don't like driving here, including me, but it's hard to admit that it's a cool image. It's no cannons in carbon, but still. And finally, we have Cole Harbor. What I think is the least interesting place in the city is the industrial park with a port, a train yard, a power plant. I don't know if it's coal like the namesake or nuclear though. I've seen coal plants with these kinds of cooling towers. And an ironworks with an open car park or whatever the fuck. There's a lot of narrow roads here, but also a few open areas like this dirt path around the power plant. This is my style. But other than that, I'm rather disappointed. I know people like to harp about Jackson Heights being boring, but at least it's more interesting than some damn factories. The Bayview Speedway isn't even here. What a ripoff. Typical of a black box open world, this is where you get to enter races and shops, but you also get to do the outrun races. Ah, here we go. This is a lot like in Tokyo Extreme Racer. You signal a driver and you have to get ahead of them to win. However, unlike in TXR, where you have to deplete your opponent's life bar by going far enough to shrink it, here you only win by being far enough, like 300 meters away from them. This should be fine. However, this is Need for Speed we're talking about, and doing that is a lot easier said than done. The rubber band strikes again, as your opponent will get too close so fast that you end up having outrun races that can last for 5 minutes. Even if you're zigzagging around the streets, they'll still try to cling you with maximum success. It's a matter of luck really, but the great thing about it is that winning enough outrun races in a stage will grant you time trials where you reach a certain shop to install a special part for your car, be it visual flair or useful upgrades. Much like in Underground 1, except you have to do this shite first. Unfortunately, the open world isn't safe from my disappointment. While I commend their effort, it can be really tedious getting to the races. Mind you, I played Most Wanted years before I even got to play Underground 2, and the way you enter races makes me wish I was back there instead. Here, you have to drive to the location to start a race. That's all well and good, but the problem is that you have to drive to the location no matter how far it is. Really, most of the time you do here is just commuting to the next race. Want to enter a race in Jackson Heights but in Cole Harbor? Now you've wasted minutes reaching there. And you can't go cross country like in Forza Horizon either. You're in a big city and you're confined to the roads. Have fun! Man, somehow commuting in Forza Horizon 1 is less tedious than this. Another thing that makes me want to go back to the next game is the shopping situation. Unlike in that game and, well, any other same racing game with an open world, the categories are separated by different shops in the city, which means that you have to get from one place to another to complete your build. So you're done with clapping some shit to your car, now it's time to paint. Oh shit, the paint shop is on the other side of town, time for the commute! Thankfully, Jackson Heights has a combination body shop and paint shop. Wish several shops went with that shit though. Seriously, this city is a nightmare to drive. I guess Black Box wanted us to drive the most out of the city, but I really hate doing so when it has so many problems with it. Half the car list consists of Econo shitboxes again, including returning ones like the Focus, the 206, the Golf and such, and new ones like the A86 Corolla. Oh sorry, I mean the A88. It's not a real 86, dude! Well, first off, don't call me dude, and second, the VIN number is not the same as the chassis code! You don't ride Bentleys, but there are some coupes, no Dodge Neon thankfully, and instead you get some real muscle, like the Ford Mustang and the Holden Monaro, badged as a Pontiac GTO of course. I have a soft spot for this car actually, I just wish that hood though, looks nigga without it. There's the Skyline, the Eclipse, and the 350Z returned from the last game, but there's also a few Audis, a Lexus, a beauty, a Lancer Evo, not the boring ES model this time, an RX-8, an Infiniti G35, there's probably a truck about it somewhere. And there's of course the Scooby, this time being the WRX SDI model, and also the Bugeye, which, if I can be frank, I'm not a big fan of. It's ugly as sin! Maybe if they redesigned the headlight housing to not have this little extra lump, I would have liked it better. If you ask me, I'd rather take either the Bugeye or the Hawkeye. Now that's aggressive. But since there's no Hawkeye mod here, I'm taking the Bugeye. Hey, I'm keeping it lore accurate at least. Oh yeah, it also has SUVs for some reason. There's a Hummer, an Escalade, and a Navigator. Considering their rise in popularity back then, begrudgingly, and were used as status symbols for the rich and famous, it makes sense to put them here. Hell, they even have their own exclusive races, which is funny. Unless you make them into pre-runners or something, I don't really see them as racing machines at all. Well, pre-runners aren't made for racing either, but you get my point. Seriously, they are the worst cars in the game. Even if you fully tune them, their acceleration is still slow as molasses, their handling is damn wide, and they're so slow the races end way longer than in a regular car. Holy shit, and yet despite that, the AI opponents can easily handle them, whereas I eat shit with them on hard. Oh god, I fucking hate them. At least you could race against normal cars with it, but why would you? Do you think the rubber band will play fair? Like in the first Underground, there are bonus cars you can drive in Quick Race, either sponsored cars or SUVs with liveries based on the game's license wrappers. And the doors too, in the form of a GTO. Good taste though. However, since the style points are relegated to nitrous refill, in order to get them, you have to import cheats or button combinations in the title screen to get them. I don't know, other than the GTO, nothing beats Rob Zombie's Fair Lady. For customization, holy shit, there is a lot to unpack here. Literally. More ugly bumpers, more useless wings, more silly roof scoops, more hoods, more rims, more head and taillights, more. But it's not just that, you also have trunks customization, hydraulics, nitrous purge, doors, split hoods, light coloring, fucking spinners. Heck, you can even put exposed carbon fiber in your trunk, or even your white body kit if you like. To say the customization here is a little bloated is an understatement. At least there's a few more white body kits. Look, you can make the Skyline like the 2001 GTR concept car. I've seen uglier. Coloring, decals, and vinyl stayed largely the same, right down to just the basic livery editing and placement. Like in the first game, you can paint your wings, brakes, muffler tips, and engine accents, even though you won't be seeing it for most of the game. Thankfully, you can put vinyls on custom hoods, unlike in the first game, though weirdly, there's not only regular categories, but also the set ones that has pre-made combinations from set regular ones. Still doesn't make your car look good, but tails. And look, the star rating is back. It never really went away, but it has been overhauled to now have up to 10 stars. Holy shit! But since style points are only reserved for nitrous refill, what do stars do now? Well, they allow you to do time trials to get the required magazine shots to progress through the stages. Oh, for fuck's sake, now I have to make my car even tackier to progress? I had an instance during my first review of it that I got stuck with a raceless world. Where's the fucking URLs I need to do? Then I figured out I had to make my car even uglier to progress. My god, at least in Underground it's only requiring a few events. Here, it's mandatory. So if you really like sleepers, get out. Well, at least the performance upgrades are still useful, though you can also buy individual parts instead of packages if you're feeling broke or something. Why would you though? And I'm glad money is not more important than in the previous game. Everything costs money now, even vinyls. Oh, you want free shit? Go back to Forza, ya wanker. However, not all parts are unlocked by just winning races. Oh no, you also have to find all the hidden stores to do that as well. Want more bumpers? Go to a specific body shop to unlock them. More upgrades? Find that one specific performance store. Have fun exploring! I say hidden, but you can spot them by just looking at its distinct lights. But it's still annoying that I have to do that to fully tune my car. Thankfully, there's a better feature that only shows up here, and it's the dyno and test run mode. This is where you get to properly tune your car for each race type, finally. And for an arcade style game, it's way more elaborate than it should. I mean it, there's settings for each individual component, including gear ratios, brake balance, front and back downforce adjustment. Whatever you're thinking of, it's there, and it can be really overwhelming. Want to stiffen your suspension? Figure this shit out. My god, this game is just a silly little racer, not Gran Turismo. Despite that, at least there's a dyno to see how powerful your car is. You can also test it at a particular type. Seriously, it shouldn't be here, but it is for some reason. Can this end? Cole Harbor is finally unlocked. Woo. No way, it's not completely unlocked. I have to do 30 races and 7 URLs to do so. Holy shit! Look at me. Look me in the eyes. Do I look fine about this game? Now you might be asking why I haven't talked about the plot yet. You know what? I quickly forgot this game had one. Yeah, despite the game going longer than the first Underground, it is also way for fan on plot. Basically, you went to a bigger city after a body crash to Skyline. You have to start all over again, slow shitbox and all. And then sometime during the second stage, you learn of this local gang called the Wraiths, who really like the imagery of death with the Grim Reaper and their side plastered on their cars. Subtle.
Check it out! It's the Big Daddy champ from up north.
Up north? I consider Olympic City to be in Texas, usually where Houston is, and since Bayview is on the west coast, the most southern city there is San Diego, which is actually way more north than Houston. Is Bayview in Mexico? That would explain the presence of Puchos then. Shouldn't the Corsa be a Chevy though? Don't think too hard about that! Here's one of their drivers, a woman named Nikki Morris, who looks like if Jeremiah of Big Time decided to come out or something. I'm sure she won't join my side sometime later. And then we learn that the leader of the gang is the same guy who almost killed you with the hammer, named Caleb Reese. Worse yet, he's manipulating the sponsors to make deals in his favor, the bastard! So you have to earn more rap in Bayview to stop that gritty fuck. And yeah, that's it. There isn't much drama, other than this one time later in the game, but other than that, despite sounding like there are a lot of stakes, it doesn't feel like it has any. Hell, there isn't even a moment where Caleb forces me to race against Rachel like in Underground 1. It's just there! There's barely more planned at Pro Street later on, and even then, that's more memorable than this. There's my man, Ryan Cooper. Like, do you even remember this guy's name? You completely forgot, didn't you? Career mode isn't any better either. It's divided in 5 stages, with the required races increasing on each stage. Stage 1 was just an appetizer, 5 random races to get your bearings. And once stage 2 starts, you're greeted with sponsor deals and the URL events. Now, sponsor deals are alright. Pick one, do free sponsor races, the rest of the races, and some URLs that get unlocked as you go through the stage, as well as make your car look tacky enough to get the attention of some magazine and video companies. And thankfully, you get some cash up front right after signing, as well as give you more slots for your garage, so that eases a bit of the pain. Yeah, like in Underground, you trade your car for another, but worse yet, all the mods of the old one don't get transferred over. It's always gonna be a blank canvas. And the fact that everything costs money now, you're looking for a costly recovery. Holy shit. But hey, more slots to progress this time, so no need to worry about losing everything. Speaking of magazines and DVD covers, other than the star rating ones, the magazine offers in this game feel more random than in Underground 1. They're just giving them away to you like candy after winning some races, rather than doing specific feats in your career. I don't mind, and at least I get some cash after doing the deal, but still. Though I like that a few offers are just get to this place and you're done, rather than time trials for most. And I also like that some let you take your photo by jumping out the city and showing off the goods. Unfortunately, the camera angles are pre-planned to fit the cover well, so it isn't a true photo mode, but hey, it's something. Unfortunately, the star rating requirements take less time to do them than the rest. Like I said, the amount of races you need to progress increase on each stage, and the URL events are a league of their own. While racing is the point of the game, it's really meandering that you have to do a ton of work to even get to the next stage. There's just too many races by the 4th stage, and by the time I reach the end of one, it looks like I'm running out of them. Oh, but don't worry, there's some events laying around the city that are hidden on the map. Great, now I'm playing hide and seek with this shit. Thankfully, Tommy will call you at random to give you hints on where they are.
Yo, dude, got any details on the rumors of racing in the Beacon Hill area? I hear it's a bunch of newbies with more bank than brains. Should be easy pickings. If you're near, can you check it out and let me know? Thanks.
That and some other guy I don't know about.
Yo, what up, dog? Boarding the wire is some action brewing in the Cold Harbor East. Now, I haven't been able to pinpoint the exact location, but you should be able to find it without much problem. My boys say something sticky, so I'd like to find it.
It's actually one of the dudes trying to call Rachel at the beginning, but even then I was like, yeah, thanks for the tip. Just one question. Who the fuck are you? Although, whenever I get to set locations, I can't seem to find any hidden events. And some of them can be easily found when you roam around. What the hell? And then we're back to this fucking shit. For some reason, this game tries to make URLs a bigger deal than they should. They take so long to do them, with races that take 3 or 4 laps to finish, especially if it's a long track. And the worst part, half of them are championships, which take uppers of free races. It's not just that, but also the amount you have to do as well. 2 more URL events get added on each stage, and you're gonna notice the slot quickly. Oh, free URLs, that could be bad. At least you want cars to trade for after winning. Hey, aren't you forgetting something? Huh? Bring up the reputation points. You know, this thing? I don't give a shit about that! It does nothing! Come on, girl. This is the black box redo. You should be covering all the stuff that's missing in your original review. Basically, if you cross the line first and you're further away from your opponents, you earn these so-called reputation points. For the longest time, I didn't know what they do in the game. Rachel does say that they're as important as winning races.
I don't know how things worked in that cow town you came from, but just winning here ain't enough. You build your reputation by destroying your opponents. Margin of victory is as important as winning.
But she didn't explain why they're important. No one in the fucking game explains why they exist, not even the goddamn manual. But apparently, if you have enough rep, you get better sponsors to use when you start a new stage. But I don't give a shit. I'll just pick whatever corporate devil I feel like being a bitch for it and just continue on with this slog. It doesn't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning is winning. Fine, whatever you say, Miss Toretto. That felt too long, man, and yet it didn't feel like I progressed story-wise. There was still a little chunk of the map left to unlock after all. Oh, fuck! Well, I never do this for my own sanity, but it's time to take out the big guns. Fuck me, now I have to do 35 regular events, 4 magazine shots, and 9 URL races to finish this goddamn game? I should be ecstatic for something else. I don't know what the fuck else could I say. It's a fucking slog to get through the end. Why so much padding? My car is a ugly bastard. Thank fuck the required zine shots are finally done. Now I can just make my car look almost stuck. I prefer to be like a WRX SCI. No, that said was the fucking URL trash. I'm not letting it cure my insomnia. Yeah! Get out! Get out! Get the fuck out of here! End the suffering already! Oh shit, the plat came back. So Caleb makes Nikki race against the ProTag. Surely don't make it harder for me. Unfortunately for her, I set the game to medium, where everyone just sucks somehow. Sorry, I just want to get this over with. Frustrated with Caleb's sanity dropping, Nikki quits the race and joins my side. Look how light her clothes are. They're not being subtle about this. Sadly, I ended up unintentionally doing these races out of order, so I got the Nikki joins Rachel in one race, and then the Nikki is still a ref and forced to race against me in the next. Damn it, I thought I didn't need to follow that order. And on the last URL race, it's me against all of Caleb's cronies. It's too bad I still have it on normal difficulty. Slow pokes. Fuck, my chest is pushing me back. Finally, I managed to win all the required shit to get to the end. And hey, my sponsors even gave me this weird ass car. I'll save it for another time. For now, I have to confront a pissed off Caleb, whose sponsors decided to drop out after the race got utterly demolished by me.
I took you out once, and I'm gonna do it again. I'm calling you out. Right here, right now. Everything on the line.
I still think the Tumblr call-out post joke in my old review is my favorite. It's Caleb in his Monaro and me in my Dacia. And fuck, it's a 5-lap race. With the game now set to hard, surely I'm gonna get Melissa levels of bullshit, right? You gotta be fucking kidding. One try? And fuck, Caleb really sucks here. Oh, he tries to get closer, but in the end, I won the race by being over 10 seconds ahead. Wow, what a cop-out. I was expecting a surprise race after this like an Underground 1, but no! Just this race and it's over! It's done! Rachel and Nikki celebrate your victory, Caleb is not alone and penniless, and career mode is finished! No more races! Fuck! That really felt anticlimactic. I want my money back. Oh. She should have taken a break. I'd like to give a shout out to the modding community for this game and the next two entries because damn, we've learned a lot of things since release. While not as big as Most Wanted, the modding scene here is still kicking, now with car mods that don't replace anything, thanks to the Unlimiter and Binary. Now we have cars with extra customization like more decal placements, outside trunk changes, quarter panels and fenders, and some extra attachments. Some models with full hand with them, like Moses' Bayview's best, which includes a Civic hatchback with the option to have this sick body kit, a Lexus GS where you can almost make a replica of Bloodhound's car from the XL0, another SUV, and a Corvette. Hello rivals! Here's something that'll make Sophie happy. So share my likes again when I select stuff. Don't like new cards, but just want a remaster? Underground2.net has you covered. An amazing mod pack full of new customization stuff and quality of life improvements, while also retaining the feel of the original game. Look, more traffic cars. Is that a fucking bus? No lie, I seriously thought this was an online revitalization effort for the game. It had .net in its name. You thought the same, didn't you? So yeah, despite everything, I really like what fans can do to this game. As for sort of vanilla Underground 2, I'd rather play Tony Hawk really. There are some improvements, yes. The handling isn't a crapshoot anymore. The customization, while overwhelming, is still amazing. The open world is a welcome feature, and drag racing doesn't suck half the time. Sadly, the career mode is a slog to get through, and forces you to make your car as tacky as possible to progress. Opponents are brain dead on easy and normal difficulty, but annoying motherfuckers on hard. Outrun is just tediously shit. Drifting sucks with other cars at the same time, and the plot is just there. Nothing exciting, not much drama or anything. Not even killing was a threat. He just sucks. Overall, I think this is worse than even the first Underground. Hell, I might just come out and say that it's worse than Undercover. At least that had better pace and a more entertaining plot. After all, boring is a lot worse than frustrating. And Underground 2 was just so boring, made me snort coke to keep me up. Thankfully, the next game is a major improvement over this and a better alternative to cocaine, so I cannot wait to once again play this masterpiece, even if I have to endure its piss galore. Did you really think I was gonna miss out on them? We have the handheld versions for the Game Boy Advance and the DS. Pocketeers made the GBA version yet again, as well as co-developing the DS one. The former is more the same from UG1, right down to a similar intro, and how it looks and plays. But instead of calling out a driver's race in order to rise up the ranking, it just regular progressing this time, divided by disciplines and level of difficulty. It's alright, but I won't play it for too long. At least I can change colors right away. The DS version is a looker, it only runs at 60 FPS, which is surprising. There's even some minigames you can do throughout the career mode. Career follows the same structure as the GBA game, so there's parity. However, there's a unique race mode for this, Own the City. I'll spare the details, it's much like Sector Shootout in Pro Street. Be quicker in a section of the track than your opponents, except this time, whoever has more territory wins. Why I like it better than that mode, it's a shame the races there take a long while to do them. Doesn't help that the handling is a bit worse in the mainline game. But those are not important. We also have this, Need for Speed Underground Rivals, a PSP spin-off game released in 2005. It was developed by Team Fusion, who co-developed the DS game, and while it is similar, it is a different beast nonetheless. This is gonna be a quick review though, so let's do it post-haste. First off, I lied. This is the second time a Dutch Neon showed up in a Need for Speed game. Shame it's not the SRT4 though, so I'm driving the Golf this time. Similar to the DS and GBA versions, the career mode is divided in 3 difficulties, plus a category if you want to make races. However, this is just half of it. There's also the quick play battle, which may sound like a multiplayer mode, but it's actually the one with the street crossing, the drag, and the drifting stuff. They could have just combined the two, but whatever. While I love the graphics looking really colorful, I don't like how shaky the camera is. I thought this was reserved for drag racing, not this shit! Ah! I also don't like how the sound effects, even the engine noises, are directly lifted from Underground 1, which means you have to hear the dreaded sound for most of the game. I hate this. The soundtrack is the same as in UG2, just with a few new songs here, like Soul Wax before they decided to venture into techno, DJ Tiesto because of course, and My Chemical Romance, nice! Unfortunately, all the songs play no matter where you are, whether you're in your menus or in a race, so get ready to hear Snoop Dogg at some point. Thankfully, you can just disable certain songs, so yay. As for gameplay, some of the handling is so bad, but not DS version bad. Since the PSP has an analog stick, it's similar to the mainline games, but even then, they feel like they go all over the place. It's hard to keep them straight. Even if the roads here are way wider than in the mainline games, it's still frustrating. The traffic doesn't help either, and neither are the opponents. Oh yeah, the rubber banding and clickiness are here in full effect. Not as bad as the Underground 1, but it's close. Holy shit, this Celica driver. Hell, the races got soundly hard by the time I reached this so-called boss race on the novice circuit, where it is somehow hard to win due to the opponents just being a bunch of jerks. Holy shit. Oh yeah, there was a lot of restarts. And speaking of restarts, there are tournaments like in Underground 1 and 2, but for some fucked up reason, if you try to restart, instead of just a race, you're restarting the whole tournament. What? Does that make sense? The mainline games weren't that strict! The tracks themselves, while looking goofy scenery-wise, are actually just courses later from Underground 1 and Hot Pursuit 2. Though, I don't think I've ever seen a track layout like this in an old NFS game. I think they based it on one of the Pyramids on Mars circuits from Looney Tunes Space Race or something. But yeah, same tracks, different scenery, and shortcuts as well. This is gonna be a running theme when it comes to its handheld versions. They're not bad, and at least the National Rail looking circuit is more bearable than the original. The race types are largely the same, except there's a few new ones, and no URLs this time. Good, I hated that. However, while I love drifting but hate drag racing in the mainline games, this one has the opposite problem. I actually like drag racing here? Like, it's actually so much easier to get perfect shifts compared to the main games because the window to shift there is so much wider, holy shit! I don't love it though, I just think it's, well, boring. Drifting on the other hand is more frustrating. At least there's no opponents doing it at the same time to worry about, but instead of drifting in a circuit, you're drifting on markers around poles. That's all well and good, but you can only start drifting on a marker if you're already drifting beforehand. You can't just drift whenever, or you will fail and never recover from that. Plus, you only get 500 points per marker, but you get multiplies if you chain them well. And there's these white ones that give you double points. But still, I know that I'm not driving rear-wheel drive cars here, but it's way more frustrating to do them right. And I also hate how some markers are right next to each other on the same pole. This is bullshit. For the new ones, there's Rally Relay, which is where you switch cars every lap. Don't forget to park before you do so. Other than that gimmick, it's just circuit racing again, boring. And then there's Nitrous Run. When you drive alone in a circuit, you have to get as much checkpoints as you can before time runs out. Passing has more time and refills your nitro. But boy, I did not expect seeing my car going supersonic speeds here. Holy fucking shit! This This is way more fun than Stick to Shoot on the DS version. The car list is heavily based on both the first and the second Underground, including that darn Neon. But there are a few ones exclusive for the game, and they're all muscle cars. There's a C5 Corvette, an old Charger, and 2 Mustangs, none of them being the new one at the time. It's the first gen and the new Edge one, which is great in my book. Unfortunately, there's no Honda cars here. Guess this is too much for them. And in order to unlock them to buy them, you just win enough races or win certain events. It's all that simple, but also tedious as well. As for customization, it's rather simplified as expected. Don't expect spinners and sound systems to show up here, just your basic body modifications as well as performance parts. No packages this time, buddy. And yeah, that's basically it, honestly. It's a decent game, but I just don't like it. It's frustrating in almost every way. But hey, if you like some bit-sized fun on the go, this is for you, I guess. You can stop pretending now, the video is over. Cocaine? Really? Why did you write that?